the governorship candidate on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos State, Engineer Adedeji Duarte. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Taiwo, and thank you for having me on this show. I'm quite delighted.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, from my introductory remark, I said that the Ruling All Progressive Congress has released a long list of members of its presidential campaign, which is already generating some reactions, particularly with the appearance of some names, like I did mention, the Minister for Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, the man in charge of the revenue, that's the Nigerian Revenue Service, Mr. Zak Adedeji, and also a former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, which many still believe has a case to answer with the EFCC. But surprisingly, all these names featured prominently on the list of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. When you saw this list, what was your first reaction?
Well, to be honest, and being a part of the NWC of the People's Democratic Party, the list of a Presidential Campaign Council, which I was the chairman in 2023 for Lagos State, is usually created by the party itself, you know, and not the presidency, just for us to take note of that. However, my first reaction was more or less like, man, this quite a lot of people. But on second thought, I just thought about it again that maybe it is necessary for them to have that many people because of the number of governors that they have. However, the touchy areas are the areas where you had Zak on the list, and then you had the Minister for Justice on the list, and then you had Edu also, Better Edu also on the list, you know. And I think, you know, with all sense of sincerity and purpose, Mr. President has withdrawn that list.
But the APC came out from Mr. Felix Morka that not that they are withdrawing, but they are just looking into the list, and people are even, you know, speculating that are they adding more to this list?
Well, definitely there were some people that were omitted on the list. I believe, you know, maybe like Benga Daniel, and then one or two others that I am privy to know. You understand? But definitely they are going to try and dress it up as if it wasn't withdrawn. But I'm sure that the president withdrew it.
Is your party, the PDP, not worried that some Nigerians and even some political parties, the opposition parties like ADC, the NDC, have come out to say some names are on that list which is supposed not to be on the list?
Definitely.
What is the position of the PDP as regards this
The
list?
position of the PDP is always clear, you understand, and I believe that that will definitely be addressed on the next list that is going to come in, you understand, because especially Zak, you know, what will Zak be doing on the, you know, you are the chairman of the revenue of the country.
And it's also for fundraising.
Exactly, for fundraising, you know. So that's, you know, most of these people might be also members of the APC, but they should be in the background and not in the forefront of the campaign. You understand? You know, I believe politically, with the history of political parties in Nigeria, definitely there will definitely be some members of the party that are holding very sensitive positions. I'll give you another example. Like Keyamo wasn't on the list. You understand? He's the Minister of Aviation. You understand? You know. So I'm sure that list will come back. You know, I have that feeling that the presidency will definitely scrutinize that list and make sure that it fits into the yearnings of the people.
Well, we have seen the list from the Ruling All Progressive Congress and generating so much of reaction, but they're also saying that the opposition parties should also come up with their own list and leave the Ruling All Progressive Congress alone.
Well, you know, I think it is part of politics to scrutinize anything that the ruling party might be doing. You know, it is the business of the entire country. You know, even if you open your mouth and drink water, it is our business. You understand? And you are there. You understand? So you also know that it's going to be the business of Nigerians to look into everything and try as much as possible to scrutinize everything. You understand? You know, I think that issue will definitely be taken care of. You know, as time goes on. You know, and if they don't, then it's definitely going to be used against them during the campaigns. You understand?
Already a member of one of the opposition parties, Senator Dino Melaye, has vowed to challenge the list, particularly the name of Mr. Zak Adedeji in court. Do you think he has the local standard to challenge the list, to go to the court and challenge the name of Mr. Zak Adedeji being on that list?
Well, definitely there is a constitution that guides the APC, you understand, and there's a constitution, the superior constitution that guides the citizens of Nigeria.
Which is the 1999 constitution as amended.
Yes, you understand. So definitely, even once you're a Nigerian and you're a Nigerian citizen, even a primary 3 student can take the president to court. You understand? It is now left to the judiciary to see if there is locus. You understand? However, where I see that there will be locus is the fact that he's a taxpayer and he's complaining about his money and the managers of his money. So definitely, I'm sure in court he will have.
So he has a local standard to challenge
definitely, he will
list.
have the locus.
Okay, let's come back to PDP. When are we expecting this same list coming out from the side of the People's Democratic Party, particularly for the Presidential Campaign Council?
Yes, we have already set up the Presidential Campaign Council to a certain extent, and the NWC is meeting next week. You understand, you know, maybe for ratification or for whatever, but I can't say what we are going to do concerning the list. You understand, you know, and definitely we have a national leader who is the FCT minister, you know, and we have a national chairman, you know, Abdurrahman Mohammed. You understand, and
that's the wicked faction.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. You
understand. That is the only. It's not a faction.
Oh,
that
really?
is the PDP, because you know you can't be in PDP and be outside the box. You understand? You know, because if you're going to talk to INEC, you're going to talk to LASEC. These are the bodies that guide political parties.
So you are saying, in essence, that is the wicked faction that is duly recognized by INEC, which is the umpire for this election.
Well, it definitely, you know, by the Supreme Court judgment, definitely, when there was crisis, yes, the wicked faction won at the Supreme Court. You understand? However, you know, right now, there are no factions. A lot of the so-called Turaki are already back in PDP. The players of that faction, Sheyi Makinde and Co, Bala Mohammed, they're all in APM, you know, so it has, the issue of faction has really fizzled out.
Okay, well, let's come to, there was this viral video yesterday of a council chairman in the FCT telling the people to vote for APC because of what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done in the last 3.5 years, as well as what the Minister for FCT, Nyesom Wike, has also done in terms of infrastructural facilities in the FCT, that they must vote for APC or leave the Federal Capital Territory. And I'm saying this in the background of Senator Fada Onsi. We saw what happened during the Osun governorship election. Yes. You know, as if we are not yet done with Fada Onsi. Now we are seeing the council chairman, you know, intimidating, you know, harassing the people of FCT, demanding that it is either they vote for APC or they leave the FCT.
Well, you know, that's one area that I believe Mr. President himself has to address. You understand? Because definitely it's not only happening in the FCT, it's happening in all the states. You understand? Even in Lagos State, you know, where the Alaba International is shut down for one reason or the other, and we know it is political, or Ladipo Market is shut down because of this. The Igunu Festival will come up on the day of election or a day before election. Or Oru, you understand? So I think all this usually has a backlash on the presidency. You understand? And unfortunately, some of the actors in the APC are not guided by the rhetorics that they spill out. You understand? And they don't know that, okay, what Father Ansi said that day, I responded as the chairman, as the national vice chairman of the Southwest. I responded about an hour after he said that. And I called on the IG of police, you understand, Tunji Disu, and also the presidency, that they need to call Father Ansi to order, and the IGP needs to call, invite him, even including the director of the DSS.
He was actually invited, but
yeah. So,
many Nigerians
you know,
see such an invitation as a paddy invitation. Not up to 1 hour, he left the police command.
No, he was there
and
for a
we have
while.
not heard anything since then. Nothing has been heard as regards
well, he was there for
made.
He was there for a while. Number one, it is a hate speech. Number two, it goes against the INEC guidelines. You understand? Number three, it also becomes threat to life. Do you understand? So if all these things are there, there must be somebody that must address it, petition, by written petition and legal backing to put him where he's supposed to be. Now, if that doesn't happen, then the IGP can only like warn him, you understand, and because of his position as a sitting senator, you understand, and believe that because of his status, you know, he will not do that again. And I'm sure they must have gotten him to a point where he started retracting what he said, saying that, no, what he was saying is that coffee, Igbo, you understand, all those kind of things. But we understand, you know, no matter what has come out of it, you understand, he has seen that what he said was wrong, you understand, and it's just like what the EFCC did just before the election by freezing an account, and Mr. President upturned that, you understand. And definitely that had, you know, what Father Ansi said had a serious backlash that even made the Accord Party, you know, win more votes, you understand, more sympathy votes. You can see how the youths came out the following day. They came out en masse, like, okay, come and kill us, right? Okay, and they voted them out, you know, even with all the federal might that Akpabio and Co must have brought over there.
Despite the federal might that we saw, the comment made by Senator Father Ansi, the people stood their ground, and we saw that result, you know, in the outcome of that election.
Yes.
And we have also seen some Nigerians who praised INEC for being unbiased, you know, umpire that election.
Yes.
Do you also foresee that moving into 2027 general elections?
Hopefully. Let's put it hopefully. You know, because, you know, the Osun was a standalone election.
Off-cycle election.
The off-cycle election. And there was, you know, the IGP deployed close to about 20,000 policemen into Osun.
Even the military were deployed.
Yes, yeah, the military were also deployed, you know. But with all that deployment, with all the INEC shenanigans, the youths were the one that won that election. You know, because you will see that even in some, I sent some of our boys into Osun, and they saw these things happen. Even when the INEC officials come, you understand, with their ballot papers and things, you understand. The youths are counting how many registered voters are on the board.
They demanded
You
that you
understand?
go back and bring the
bring-
full list of the ballot paper.
You understand? Which has never happened before. You understand? So
that-
you know,
that-
I
to
praise
you,
the
does
youths
that
of
show
Osun.
the high level of transparency in this election, particularly in Osun State, on the side of INEC?
Well, you know, definitely somebody in INEC should change that polling unit. And definitely they found out that those sheets will be thumb-printed somewhere else if they don't have it at the polling unit. You understand? You know, they were able to think it out. And they said, look, we're not doing anything here.
Until
Go back
we have the
until
full list
we
of the
have
ballot paper.
Do you understand? So even with the police, with the INEC, with the army, do you understand? The army and the police are not going to do this part. And these are the critical areas, especially when it comes, sensitive documents are coming from Abuja into Lagos, goes to CBN, from CBN to the local governments, from the local governments to the wards. And that's why in Lagos State we're asking that INEC must not use the council secretariats
As a
for
collation
collation center in Lagos State.
Why?
Do you understand? Because definitely we have had bad experiences with us going for collation in
Local government
in
areas
local
and
government areas. You know, you don't know where this room leads to, that room leads to that one, and this one leads to that one. And the whole thing is usually confusing, and definitely there is a sense of insecurity for all other parties as they walk into
So
such
to you,
a place.
what's been speaking with Engineer Adedeji Duarte, the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the forthcoming 2027 governorship election in Lagos State. So let's come to Lagos now. It seems like you are not tired of coming out to contest for governorship election. So, and to me, by my record, this should be your third time of coming out to contest.
This is my 6th time.
Oh, sorry, your 6th time of contest, and you are not tired. So what's the inspiration behind you coming out again?
Well, my inspiration is very simple. Number one, I'm a hard-working person. Number two, I've also created wealth for myself. I've mentored so many ladies and gentlemen in the corporate world that are quite successful in whatever they are doing right now. I meet them every day, and they do thank me for it. You understand? And I believe that the problems that we had in 2007 are the same problems that we still have in Lagos State today.
Tell us those
You understand?
problems. Tell us.
Double taxation.
Okay.
How can a business run on about 13 different taxes? You understand? That is slowing down business. It is making business collapse.
But government has
Yes.
also come out most times to defend this idea of multiple or double taxation, that there are taxes you pay to local government, there are taxes you pay to state and also federal, that people sometimes also want to believe that this is multiple taxation, whereas these are categories of taxes that you pay to different tiers of government.
Okay, let me give you an example. You are paying your taxes and you are paying ground rent, you are paying land use charge, you are paying, you understand, Onibongo is coming, this one is coming, Ikeja local government is coming. You know, you see, when we get, and that's why I still go back to Mr. President. When there was a time Mr. President said that he wants the autonomy of the local governments. And he knows what he was talking about. Do you understand? Let me tell you, let me give you an example. You understand? From May this year till maybe last month, you understand? The local governments in Lagos State collected close to about 500 billion
From the federal
from the
allocation.
federal allocation. Do you understand? When a local government like Ikeja could be taking in 700 million, 600 million, they understand. And people are still paying Loma. At the same time, there is Yet Law, who are the companies that carry...
Loma is evacuating their waste and is also providing services to them.
Through Yet Law, which is the company that is contracted by Loma. However, Yet Law will also bring their bill. You understand? So you have this one they're paying, you also have that one that you're paying.
Because of time, sir, let's just quickly come back to, you said this is the 6th time that you are coming out to contest for governorship. What do you have on the table? What are your options? What are your agenda that you think people should consider you as the best candidate to take over from Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu?
Thank you very much. Definitely look at our antecedents. Look at our health creation, wealth creation. You understand? Look at our experiences, especially in the private world and in the managerial world, and then also in the political world. I have moved up the ranks in the political, in the People's Democratic Party. You understand? I've been, I've been vice chairman, acting vice chairman of the Southwest. I've been chairman. I've been state chairman. So I have contributed, to citizenry and also trying to bring a lot of people into the fold, the political fold. Having said that, you understand, I'm a manager of resources. You understand? My private company was incorporated in 1986, and we're 40 years today. And definitely we have an asset base of, I wouldn't say that, you understand, because of, we're on the air. But definitely I have had the experiences, I have seen, I have gone through my, I have been aspirant for 6 times. This is the first time I'm going to be on the ballot. You understand? And I have gone through the problems of Lagos State, especially the waste disposal, the heaps of dump sites all over the whole state, the dirtiness of the whole state, and the bad roads in the state. And I'm here now, first of all, for the youths, to make sure that they get their freedom and they're able to speak out. Number 2 is to make sure that the citizens in Lagos State save money. Their spending power needs to be increased. Let me give you an example on power. On power, my own decision on power, or my administration's decision on power, will be to sit down with the discos. We all know that the discos are already overstretched with debt. And that is the reason why the cost of per kilowatt is that high. With this kind of pricing, you understand, the medium-scale industries cannot survive in Lagos. You understand? And how will there be jobs? Lagos State does not have to be the highest employer of people. You understand? It must be the private sector. You understand? So at the end of the day, my purpose for coming into Lagos State is to help the private sector to grow. The pharmaceutical sector, for instance, all the big pharmaceutical companies are in Lagos State. Why can't I come in, sit down with them? Look here, my people are suffering. Your drugs are high. What can we do as a government to bring down your cost? You understand? And in return, what we expect you to do is to join us, partner with us. We are going to open infirmaries everywhere in the state. Your drugs will go there. You understand? Not going to the market. It will go there. And then people can go there and buy at a discount.
Engineer Adedeji, I think we don't have much time again. Definitely, we will bring you back on the show to come and speak as regards your manifesto as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the forthcoming governorship election in Lagos State. Well, this is our time will permit us on Inside Politics today on Silverbell Television we make a return next week with another guest on the show. I am Taiwo Olapade. Bye for now.